Hello everybody, welcome. It is Friday. We are here for another live stream. I hope you all are doing well. What is up? What is going on? I will get the doggo camera set up here momentarily. Please let me know if you can see me and hear me and all those other things, because if you can't, it's going to be really hard for me to live stream. So let me do. Where's the dog? Staring at me, right directly behind me, of course, as always. Why? Why is it not showing up? There we go. There's the doggo camera. She's like, I think. Yeah, there she is. Doggo sighted. I don't know if she'll stay there for very long, but that's where she's currently at. And let me get the chat all synchronized. It's your birthday, Sean. Happy birthday. Congratulations. I hear you, and you look absolutely spectacular. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm like practicing doing like new makeup I normally don't do. I'm like trying the like bottom eyelash thing, which is why we started like 2 minutes late today. Is this one kept getting stuck to the bottom of my upper lashes. I didn't want to show up with my eyeballs glued together, so we had to fix that. I am having the darndest time. I feel like my lips are too pigmented. Like finding a lip stain, I can get reds to work, I can get oranges to work, but if I want like a brown or a pink or anything else besides orange and red that's dark to show up on my lips, I feel like it just like doesn't work. And I'm trying to experiment with different combinations of things and seeing how they turn out. But yeah, it's a deal. It's a whole situation. That's my journey. And then my eyeliner, I don't know. I used to love the Maybelline Master Precise eyeliner pens, and then I got a new one at Ulta, and they changed it, and it sucks now. And now I'm like, what am I going to use for eyeliner? Like, what eyeliner pen actually works well? I don't know. I'm lost. Completely lost at sea. I don't know what I'm doing anymore with my makeup. But yeah, we're practicing new looks. But I do really like, this is like the Maybelline, actually I have it. This is not Maybelline. The Milani like fruit fetish lip glosses. Funny because haha, it's got the word fetish in it. So great for my channel. But I actually really like how these lip glosses feel, and I feel like the colored ones actually have like pretty decent pigmentation. You are trying so hard to get. Why do you want to go in the bathroom? What are you doing, little dog? You cannot go in there, ma'am. Sorry. I know you want to go hide in your little cave in the bathroom, but you can't. Alright. I don't know if the doggo will find a good spot for herself out here, but she was poking the door open at the bathroom. Your eyeballs are glued together? Echo, see, no. They didn't actually get literally glued together, but I got a little bit of, from gluing this lash on, I got a little bit of eyelash glue on my upper lashes, and it was kind of sticking the corners together. It wasn't literally sealing my eyeball shut. Obviously, because if that happened, I wouldn't be streaming right now. I didn't actually get anything in my eyeball, to be clear. Just on the lashes, before anyone panics. But anyways, before I get into rambling too much about eye makeup stuff, hi, my name's Evie Lupine. Every Friday here at 6 p.m. on my YouTube channel, we live stream for about 2 hours from 6 to 8 p.m. We usually have a couple of suggestions for what we could talk about in the title of the live stream, but essentially this is an interactive Q&A, so you guys ask questions and I answer them, and then we just have a little bit of a back and forth. People in the audience contribute their thoughts, and it's an all-around fun time. I realized I did not actually start the Q&A feature. So I will start that right now, and it's going to say, put your questions here. There you go. And then it'll pop up. It's a little white banner. And then I think it just automatically gets pinned to the top of the chat, so that'll be in there. So if you want to make sure it's your question, you can put it in the Q&A feature, or if you want to make sure I read it out right away, you can use Streamlabs down below or directly through YouTube, and you can donate with a super chat, totally optional, but it will read your chat message out loud. It'll show it off on screen. It's very beautiful. We've got cute art for it. And then I'll get to your question right away. Otherwise, I answer questions in the order they come in. Obviously, because these are live streams and I do them every week, we don't always get to every single question. I can't promise I'm going to get to every single question. So if you have like a burning thing that you absolutely need help for, like right now, super chat is the best way to do that. And thank you so much, Sean. Also, happy birthday, Sean. I saw it was your birthday. Happy birthday. But our FetLife correspondent, Sean, has another installment of their great adventures to share with us, and we will get to that here shortly. But otherwise, that is what you need to know. What's for dinner at y'all's? I got roasted pork and sweet potatoes and peas on the side. I haven't had dinner yet. I might have something after stream, but today for lunch I had homemade hummus with tomatoes and saltine crackers because I'm leaving to go on a trip in like 4 days, and so that means I don't want to go to the grocery store and buy anything, so I'm just eating what's currently in the fridge. There is a 75% possibility that for dinner, when I have dinner later, it will be a salad with air fried tofu. It's mostly what my meals are. Eat a lot of salads. Oh my gosh, I was vegan serve. I'm so sorry. Got roofied last Friday. Dance club had set my drink near cosplay girls. I think someone was targeting them. Almost collapsed when my friends were there. Got home fine, but not leaving drinks anymore. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's awful. I don't ever go out to drink at like bars ever. So I like forget the thing that happens. But yeah, absolutely. Do not like, even things have not changed in the last 20 years. Do not leave your drinks unprotected. If you are in the middle of drinking a beverage and you have to go to the bathroom, like give it to a trusted friend, tell them not to set it down, or maybe just call it a loss that you're not finishing the last, $5 worth of the margarita, and like get a new margarita when you get back, honestly, sometimes, because that's really scary. I've had similar things happen. I've known more men that have been roofied than women, actually. And it's almost always been because like somebody wanted to like take them out. Like they were on a date with someone and their drink got roofied because they wanted to like isolate the woman that they were with, which is also like really fucked up and scary. But I also don't think it's something that we talk about because obviously, as a cis woman, like I was even told like before I went to college, like, don't, if you go to parties, don't leave your drink unattended, blah, blah, blah. But we don't realize that like regardless of who you are, what body you're in, like you can absolutely still be targeted either because they want to get to you or because they want to isolate somebody that you're with, and it's all scary and it's, geez, that's really, really frightening. I'm sorry you went through that, but oh boy. Always carry it says a rookie detection straw, but I'm assuming that you probably mean a roofie detection straw. Those actually work. I haven't heard about those in forever. I do remember hearing something about those though. Roofie detecting. I imagine that change color in the presence of common drugs such as GHB, ketamine, and Rohypnol. Oh yeah, color changing straw to stop drink spiking. This is a little thing from the Michigan State University Innovation Center. And it sounds like this is at least they were working on a study for a straw like this. I don't know if there's probably ones available on Amazon, but I don't know how well they work, so maybe do research into that if that's a concern you have if you go out to bars and stuff, because you never know what really can happen. I would say hummus is very laborious to make, but then I also make stuff and then people eat it and then I tell them what steps I had to do to make it. Like when I make my air fried tofu and they're like, that sounds like a lot of work. And I'm like, not really. Like if I'm just throwing something in an oven or to boil or whatever, like I don't notice. Like if you're making really good homemade hummus and you're starting from like dried garbanzo beans and rehydrating them, but that's just a time thing. It's not even really active labor, so I don't know. People are the worst. You want to hook up? Ask if you have a bit of confidence and actually care about consent, it might work more than you think. Yeah. But unfortunately, I think I don't know. I mean, wasn't there something? Was it VidCon or Twitch? Wasn't there something where like they like roofied the punch for like a whole party of people? I think it was TwitchCon. Why do so many people... TwitchCon's 2024 VTuber drug party disaster. Oh, Jesus. He had multiple doses of roofies. Oh, that's from... I don't know if I trust, like, Keemstar's perspective on that, to be honest with you. Oh, wow. Yeah. VTuber Shy Lily discusses people allegedly getting roofied at TwitchCon parties. Apparently... this is an ongoing issue at Twitch events, but I don't know if it's necessarily like I'm not confident enough to ask for consent, so therefore I have to just pop some ketamine into somebody's beverage. I think it like the predatory mindset like works differently in a way that I don't think average people can really put themselves in the shoes of. Like they don't really want to have. I mean, sometimes it's like incel stuff where like a forum they're a part of like pushes them into being like, you gotta take this woman by force. Like that probably happens actually. But I'm assuming a large part of it is people who from the jump don't really want to have consensual interactions to begin with. And they like the fucked up part of like roofing someone and taking advantage of them. Because like, you know, they just want what they want and they want it right now. They don't want to have to like play games about like using condoms or what types of sex is going to happen or whatever. And so just, it's really not good. It's really not a fun time. They haven't made roofies in 20 years. I think someone's making porky pies. Oh yeah. I mean, usually people, at least, I don't know what it's like where you live. I'm assuming you said porky pies. I'm assuming you're from the UK. At least here, people will still, like in a vernacular sense, say roofies, but they might mean anything from like GHB to ketamine. I mean, I think ketamine's actually the most popular right now. It's actually relatively hard to get just straight GHB these days. And ketamine's everywhere. Like, I have been to concerts and seen people. It's great. I never go to concerts. And the few times I've been, I have seen people just like openly, just like security is right there. And they're just like obviously doing drugs in front of security and other people. And it's like, oh my, this is very normalized apparently. It's very odd interacting with like other subcultures when you're kinky, because obviously in the kink community, like for the most part, different parts of the world are different parts of the country are different, but everywhere that I've been to outside of Europe is very anti-drug during public play parties. Like you do not hear of or see people on drugs, smoking weed, getting drunk even. That by itself is like not a thing that people do. There are definitely events where people will have like a little cocktail and they'll socialize, and like maybe there'll be some very forms of super light play with like pre-vetted partners that the event organizer knows that you're there with, and that's the extent of it. And when you go into other communities after being in that for so long, at least for me, and sobriety outside of, you know, subspace and things being normalized, it's like very jarring how much other communities like leap to that like intoxication of any kind as like, oh, this is how we have fun. And it's like, are you having fun if you have to take external substances to make it fun? I don't know. But yeah, the whole thing's very weird. Also, apparently Zoomers love ketamine. That's what the news is telling me. They love their Zins, they love their vapes, and they love their ketamine. It's crazy. Yeah. Not hanging out long, very sleepy, just got another job, almost working full-time with both jobs combined. Hell yeah, hopefully you're enjoying it. Congratulations. Get the money. Thanks for stopping by. That's me with lead on my eyelids now. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a nice dream. Oh, no. All right. See you later. Genuine, what are the steps to air-fried tofu? Press, freeze, cut through an air fryer, shake every 5 minutes. That's pretty much it. Slightly wrong order. Step 1 is freeze it inside the package. Step 2 is slightly defrost the package enough to like cut out the plastic part and like get the ice block of tofu out. Then you put it into already boiling, slightly salted water, and then you boil that depending on the block and like how thick it is for between, I would say like 10 to 15 minutes. And then after it's done boiling, you take it out. I run it under cold water to get to cool down faster, but you can just like leave it out to like cool down from the air. Then after it's been drained and it's no longer piping hot, you tear it up with your hands into little pieces. That's very satisfying. And then you just put it in the air fryer plain. I put mine on, I think, at like 400 for 8 minutes or something. And then I just like check it every, 5 minutes or so until it's done. Yeah, that's how you air fry tofu. It's very good. It's basically like croutons. As I understand it, there is a bit of a fetish for the other person being unconscious, which you can find willing partners for, negotiate, etc. Consent matters. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely people that are like, I know people that are into like necrophilia roleplay. I know people that are into like, they like role playing. That like, we're gonna role play. Like, we just met at a bar, and then you get too drunk and come home with me. Like, that's the fun part. If there's a part of you that's like, I actually sort of like the idea of like, what if I met my partner at a bar and then like, they were super drunk and I took them home. Like, you can actually like, role play that without actually hurting anybody, and you can just have like a fun time. And that's cool. And maybe we should just do that as an idea. We should maybe try it, I think. If you want to, obviously. Yeah, it's like there's so many ways to do and engage in the elements of different kinks that are, let's say, antisocial in nature, that could be damaging to other people, that when they're pre-planned and they're consensual with a partner you know well, they can be totally fine. Absolutely. I was in a bar once and this girl went to the bathroom, and when she came back, she said, "I trust you," and took her drink. On the one hand, thank you. On the others, please don't. I just transitioned. I mean, it's like, there's definitely a silver lining on that story. But yeah, no, definitely don't trust any, go, if it's a friend that you know well, trust them with the drink, okay? If you can trust them not to set it down and forget about it. If it's anyone else, don't, like, man, woman, NB, I don't care. If they're a stranger, they're a stranger, and you don't know what they're there for, and all different people have all kinds of different nefarious intentions, so just be careful. Anyways, I don't want to just talk about roofies for like half an hour, so if we have more questions about like consent and intoxication and kink, we can definitely talk about that for sure. But otherwise, I'm gonna go back to the chat. Again, reminder: if you would like me to answer your question right away, you can use a super chat. You can also use the Q&A feature right up here in the corner with the little white box in the YouTube chat, and that'll for sure let me know you have a question, because otherwise I don't always see every single question, and I do try to go in order, following along kind of whatever trail of thoughts we're currently doing. But yeah, that is a thing that happens. I did make an entire thing of hummus. It was quite large. I have a bunch of it left, actually. Been busy with a partner over, as well as a ton of medical stuff and trying to fix my sleep. Oh my god, I hear you on fixing the sleep. I actually have been making very good progress on that. Like, for a while, I would try to go to sleep early, and I realized I was trying to do too much all at once, and so I was actually I would go to bed, but then wouldn't fall asleep for like 2 hours. And now I actually get like fully sleepy by like 2 a.m. as opposed to like, I wouldn't get sleepy until like 3:30. I'd like to get to a point where I'm like fully sleepy by like 1:30, but I was really struggling with my sleep for a while there after I put in like I think actually when I was editing oh my god, what is it called? The Decolonizing Love. When I was putting together the Decolonizing Love video, I put in a lot of really like late hours working on that before it got published, and that just like turbo destroyed my sleep schedule, and I've been like slowly working my way back, and actually been working out really well. And I wake up and it's like the morning time and it's great, and I get to go outside, and I feel more productive, which is always a benefit. Oh yes, let's do, before I forget, let's do Sean's story here. Let's get that going. Do 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 do. There's not birthday spankings in this story. I'm going to be so surprised. Here we go. This is about a quote slave auction, though obviously there's reasons to not use that language. But Sean says, last Saturday was the charity quote slave auction at my dungeon. All quote slaves willing to be auctioned had to fill out what was basically a limits form that had various types of play: spanking, flogging, whip, sensation, sensory deprivation. I could go on, but you get the idea. You would indicate light, medium, or heavy for each type of play. There was also a place to write out hard and soft limits, as well as as well as a figure of a body to indicate anywhere you did not wish to be touched. Those wishing to bid either brought food and/or clothes to exchange for auction money. Cash could also be exchanged at $1 for $10 of auction money. Oh, okay, that's nice. Oh, was it like a charity drive thing? Like bring like canned food and like clothes to donate, or like maybe like a potluck kind of situation? Either way, I like that. I like that idea. Like having it be a fundraiser is nice. An hour after the event started, all the slaves and their limits sheets were available to be viewed before bidding began. I found out DOMs were also being auctioned, and they used the forms to indicate what their limits were for topping. Oh, I love that. I'm so, like, I haven't gotten to do a proper auction setup. Like, I've done the meat rack a bunch, but that's not an auction thing. And there's reasons for why the areas I've been around like don't do them. I think there's a lot of like sensitivity about the language and stuff, but and also like you don't want people to not be bid on or like make them feel bad. And like I'm actually curious, is it like the kind of auction, because there's like the kind of auction where you like, it's like, all right, they step right up and it's like, this is blah blah blah, and they're auctioning off the opportunity to do blah blah blah, starting bid is a blah blah blah, and it's like a formal, like an auction house type of auction? Or is it like a silent auction where you have people like standing as figures, like sort of a human furniture kind of deal, and then they're either maybe wearing their limit sheet, or they have it like in front of them or like on a stand next to them or something for people to read, and then they can like write down a bid like later somewhere else? I probably wouldn't have the bid sheet in front of the people, because I think if somebody's not getting bid on, like that might make them feel bad. But there's like, oh, you can go and you can actually, this is what they do for, I've been to a charity dinner before where they had, they didn't have the bidding sheets like in front of the items. There was like a separate thing, like maybe there was like a website or something where you could go and you could like place bids as opposed to like writing it down on a sheet. Because otherwise there were some items that like you would have had to have like pages of bids to keep up with how many people were bidding on an item. So anyways, that's just like ideas for how you would even run an auction. Maybe this is something I should like make a video about. Has anyone on YouTube made a video about slave auctions before? I actually don't think I've made a video about the meat rack either. I've mentioned it before in videos on Patreon where I've talked about my experience at conventions, but that's actually, anyways, I'm not reading your story anymore. Now I'm just pontificating on what would be fun ideas for videos. But yeah, anyways, moving on. Love the idea that tops also get to be auctioned off, because that's cool and fun and everyone should get to participate. I was number 5 on the auction and was bid on by a friend who is also an event staff member of the dungeon. She is a switch like me. She had a full dance card as she won 2 others besides me. We had a fun impact scene with mostly floggers. There was some light caning, more like sensation play. There are definitely people that are like, any kind of caning is terrible, but fair enough. and a padded leather paddle. She is really good with a flogger, as she can hit with just the tips, and it feels like multiple single tails hitting at once. Ooh, that's very skilled. Being able to hit with only the tips on the surface, yeah, you know what they're doing. I left with some marks on my back from her flogging that lasted more than an hour. I took a picture when I got home and posted it on my FetLife. In the 28-year history of the event, we have fed and clothed over 40,000 families. Wow, that's really impressive. For the holidays, we will be having the same type of auction for Christmas on December 19th. That is so lovely. So you do like a Christmas one, and you also do a Thanksgiving one. That's delightful. I love it. As a final note, Club Awakening will be tomorrow night at my dungeon, and I will be the practice bottom again. It is a tasting booth party. If anyone has questions about the event or upcoming auction, please message me at Dernwin on FetLife, and then Dernwin's also in the chat if you would like to see their FetLife name. Yes, live stream correspondent Sean signing off. Thank you for the update, Sean. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. That was a beautiful story. I did make a Patreon video about being in an auction, but I haven't made like a, what is a slave auction? Like a proper BDSM 101, what's a slave auction type of thing. Why are they enjoyable? How do you do them? Yeah, I think that would be a fun idea. I'm putting that in my phone right now. I actually like lost all of my notes I had to like recreate them from an archive I had kept a while ago, and I lost a bunch of my video ideas, and I was really upset about it. Slab auctions, that's definitely what I meant. Slave auctions. And next time I do my nails, I am cutting these shorter. They're too long. It makes using my foam too difficult. But yeah, we're definitely, I hope that would, I don't know. I have to think about the title because I worry about people that being a thing that would breach containment,
Dark_desires donated $5.
Super chat from
I've finally
Dark
figured
Desires.
out what kind of sadist I am. I want to feel mean. Think schoolyard bully. I still need find which activities give me that feeling. As a fellow sadist, any ideas?
Okay. I think it means I finally figured out what kind of sadist I am. I want to feel mean. Think schoolyard bully. I still need to find which activities give me that feeling as a fellow sadist. Any ideas? Yes, I'm being recruited for sadism. Delightful. Well, you could literally just role play as a schoolyard bully. I definitely know people, not even that identify as littles, but in general, like playing with that kind of like mean girl, mean kid on the block, school bully energy, and have done scenes around that with like, you have your like partner put their hair in pigtails and you like pull on their pigtails. You like, have them show up with like a lunchbox and like rough them up until they hand over their lunch, and then you like sit on them while you eat their lunch in front of them, or you like, shake them down for the change in their pockets or whatever, their milk money. Like, you can get really silly with it if you want to kind of play it like you're like a 1940s, like classic schoolyard bully, or you can do something more modern too if that's your style. But you can just be that. Also, the bully aspect of it reminds me actually a lot of like Princess Callie's approach to her dominant. So Princess Callie is a fantastic educator. I think our website is like Coaching by Callie. It's Kali. And she's a very, very long time pro dom, been in the scene for forever, been a pro dom, been a lifestyle dominant, done all the things. And her style is being a princess and a mean girl. And so a lot of her kink, if you see her play in public, reflects that. Obviously a private play does as well. She literally like wears a tiara while she's playing. So I would think about maybe something on like the role play spectrum between like princess, snotty rich girl, schoolyard bully, and like thinking about things, probably a lot of emotional sadomasochism, to be honest with you, that would go along with that. So like humiliation, teasing, ridicule, sort of classic like stop hitting yourself like kind of stuff, or like you know, pulling on somebody's like hair really hard, or like intentionally like spilling a drink on them and then like being like, ha, you ruined your like stupid outfit, like I guess we made it look better, like, or like making fun of somebody's makeup, or like, I mean you could at least role play giving them a swirly. I don't think I wouldn't assume that you can go into a dungeon and like just use the bathroom for a scene, but you could probably recreate it. You could probably recreate using a toilet, but like using a giant bucket or something. I don't know how you'd get the swirl part of it, but I think it would be possible. I think you could make it happen if you tried hard enough, for sure. Yeah, using the long nails are really hard. But yeah, that's probably what I would go to for activities. I'd lean more into the emotional sadomasochism, and then I would also think about like classic like bully type activities to engage in, and like finding like outfits or clothing or like perfumes that help you engage with that headspace and help you kind of like tap into that side of who you are. I was thinking of swirlies too. Yeah, swirlies are like, I have thought about swirlies in a long time, but certainly there are people who like having their head forcibly dunked in cold water. But any like also like sleepover like type pranks I think could be good for that too. If you like water sports, you could definitely like play around with that. Like, yeah, there's tons of directions to take that in. There's going to be lots of sources for inspiration, but that would be what I would gravitate towards, especially if you can find a minion. If you can find a minion to like co-top with you, that would be a really fun scene. I'm curious with regards to slave, is there a substitute like host and client? And then 2, what's the meat rack? So to just go back to that really quickly, I haven't seen any like clear one-to-one replacements for the word slave in an auction environment. Normally, maybe people just say submissive, like they just say that there's gonna be an auction or like a play auction or something like that. I'm actually gonna probably look on FetLife after this and see if it's been called other terms for like actual, not just a fantasy role play thing that happens, but a real actual thing that's happening at a dungeon. I think it just is called an auction usually, and then whatever the person's preferred role is what they get auctioned off as. So if based on what they're offering, because different places will do it differently. I know probably the most common way I've seen an auction done is like I've seen like boot blacks auction off their boot blacking services. So they're not even like necessarily doing what Sean talked about with making a narrow list of like, you know, here's like 10 activities we can do. Here's the level of intensity I want, or like could do with those things based on your preference. But it's like, I am offering this one specific thing. I'm offering boot blacking. I'm offering leather care. I'm offering, you know, therapy dog time because I'm a puppy player. I'm offering, baking together in snuggles. I'm offering like a full house cleaning because I'm a service submissive. Like, it's very narrowly tailored. And so they're not even really using the word slave in that context because there's so many different people offering so many different types of services. And I think, what was it, used to like host and client? I think generally people would want to avoid the kind of like sex worker-y connotations of that at venues, and I think that partly can be because of whorephobia, and I think part of that can just be because people don't like the stigma of sex work being attached to kink. And certainly we have lost venues and parties and whole conventions because of local jurisdictions being like, you're selling tickets to a thing where people have sex in front of each other. That sounds like prostitution. And then even if it's all consenting adults not exchanging money with each other, they will construe the venue as being like a brothel because, oh, well, you're paying a fee to get into the door to a place where you're having sex with people. Ipso facto, that's a brothel, depending on what the local legal definition of a brothel is. And, you know, wanting to avoid the ire of the local very conservative police chief in that context, I think is understandable, though they will find a way to be mad regardless if they want to be mad and take something out. So you don't necessarily always win with that one. And then a meat rack, so to briefly describe that, I do have a whole Patreon video where I talk about this. I've mentioned actually in a couple of them. But the meat rack is an event that happens. It's organized by some people in the Bay Area. It's done at a lot of the Dark Odyssey events that they are at as well. And it is a groping palooza. It's a groping palooza where people go in whatever level of undress they feel comfortable with, and anywhere that does not have clothing on it is touchable. You are not allowed to bring in toys or do full-on scenes with people. So like you can't bring like a flogger or a whip or use it on anyone on the meat rack. It's just like hand touching only. So things like spanking are fine, you know, scratching is okay, things like that. But like no choking, no full-on scenes. It's meant to be like quick little like 30-second to 2-minute long interactions with like a bunch of people. It's super popular. It's almost always one of the most popular events at the conventions that I go to. People start lining up to be able to get on the rack like 45 minutes ahead of time, and it is always super busy, filled with people, and it goes for about 2 hours, and people go around, and there's like I'm not explaining all like the safety mechanics and things they have built in to like make this a safer experience for people, but they have a lot of dungeon monitors, they have like verbal and nonverbal signals that you can use. Like they do a good job of making it as safe as you can, with the fact that this is a rack activity, for lack of a better term. It's risky. Like you could be touched by people you don't want to be touched by. You could be touched in ways that make you uncomfortable. Like things can happen that are maybe not fully what you would want, but that's essentially what it is. And it's a way for people to get to experience touching people and gaining confidence with that, or to be touched by strangers in a positive and affirming way. And I have a great time on it. I think it's great. I have not done it at the last surrender like I normally would have, because I was just way too busy with teaching, and I would have been out way too late if I had gone to that instead. But I think it was well worth it in the end for the trade-off. But I don't know, maybe at some point I'll try. I feel like, not that I've gotten the whole experience I'd want to get out of being on the rack, but I haven't ever tried playing from the opposite side and like being the groper. And I'm curious about what that would be like, because I've never gotten to try it before. You could put those things you offer on your sheet as offered services. Oh, okay, yeah. And then sexual acts were strictly prohibited. That is one difference, I think, between a lot of auctions and the meat rack. Like, the meat rack, it's supposed to be a way for like people to meet each other. That's why it's set up the way that it is. I've actually had a couple relationships that have come out of meat rack activity, so it works really well, in my opinion, for that purpose. But beyond just like the groping stuff I was talking about with like touching over clothing, digital penetration is allowed, but you have to use gloves, have to change gloves between people, and get explicit consent for specifically that kind of touch, if that's what you want to do with a person. And I mean, I don't look for that happening, so I don't know. I think I've seen people with gloves. Actually, wait. I have been a couple people over from somebody being groped before in that particular way. Not what I look to get out of that experience. I will tell you that. All right, where'd my dog go? Let's find out. Is she in the bed? Oh, she is in the bed. Look how snoozy she is, my snoozy angel. Oh, so cute. All right, hopefully that answered your question. But yeah, it's so sexual acts strictly prohibited. I totally get why for like an actual auction you would not. I mean, I think I could see why somebody would want to do an auction for like, I'm completely free use, do whatever you want to me. But that's a lot of risk for the venue to take on to facilitate that. So I can see both sides of that for sure. Not my cup of tea though. Not you know, I'm not like the meat rack is so special because I think it offers a nice little container where that kind of touch is okay, where like in any other context, any other time of year, the idea of a stranger touching any part of my body is horrifying to me. But for some reason with the meat rack, it works with my brain. So I don't know. Sometimes things just work differently. Yeah, all right. I'm going to check the questions folder real quick. We got a couple in there. It just says test. Oh, we got an update from Phoenix Vaughn's. Phoenix Vaughn says, Evie, update for the dungeon owner secretly selling pictures and videos. Remember that from last week? That was a wild story. Police contacted me advising pics of me were sold and I could be called for the prosecution. Oh no. I'm so sorry, Phoenix. Oh my goodness. I'm 18. I don't want to talk about my submission in open court. Do you think I can fight that? I'm not a lawyer, Phoenix. I am so sorry. I don't know. I think you have to decide whether or not you want to cooperate. If they're giving you the option, I mean, it's one thing if you get like subpoenaed, but this is definitely like, even if you can't afford to talk to like a real lawyer, like there are Facebook groups for this, there are subreddits for this. You can ask people. You don't have to say it's for a dungeon thing. You can just say, this is what I would do if it was me. I would go in one of these groups where like actual approved lawyers answer basic legal questions, or I would look up, see if anyone else has been in a similar position, and I would say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I live in Portland, Oregon. It was recently discovered that a venue I used to patronize was secretly selling photos of the patrons in compromising positions in like the bathroom or something. I changed the details a little bit so it's not identifiable, but like still get to the point of the question you're trying to answer. And now they're being prosecuted by the police, and I found out that my photos were also being sold, and the prosecution would like to have me work with them as a part of their prosecution. Is there a way I can contribute without having to talk about it in open court? Do I have to like work with them at all? Like, what are my rights to like deny being part of this prosecution process, or at least having to go into court and talk about it openly? And then hopefully an actual legal professional will get back to you. But that is unfortunately pretty far outside of my wheelhouse of knowledge. But luckily there's lots of lawyers on the internet with free time that are happy to answer questions. And also it's going to depend on like where you live. And I don't that's a really, really tough position for sure. This is why legal aid exists, to be honest. Yes, exactly. Yeah. If you want to fight it, you may need to get a lawyer to fight it for you. That's also true. Yes. We also are currently live. That's correct. But yeah, wow, that's terrible. And I definitely get why. I'll validate this too, because I think this is important. Totally understandable. Like, one, you went through something that was really violating, even if you didn't know it was happening at the time. Like, still finding it is really painful, and totally get why you would not want to talk about any of this in court or have any of this on record, especially because you are so young. Totally get that. I can also see why the prosecution would want to involve you, probably because of your age. And yeah, that's people suck. I'm so sorry. That is, I hope that they go away for a very long time. I don't even know what this kind of crime would be categorized as, but hopefully where you live in the jurisdiction that you're at, there are options for you to be able to contribute if you want to contribute at all without having to like share your face or name or go testify or anything like that. You can also ask for a public defender. Yeah. I think for sort of the basic questions, maybe we don't need to get to that stage, but also like we work with the prosecution. They wouldn't get a public defender because that's not what public defenders are for. But yeah, echoing contacting a lawyer, search for legal aid and your state is a first step. Yeah, that's definitely a really good step. Yeah. But you have options. You just gotta know what your options are, and hopefully they'll give you some resources to find them. Anyways, If you guys would like to have me answer your questions, you can go to the little Q&A box up there, and I will answer it right away, or as close to as quickly as I can. That is the best way to get your question answered. Otherwise, I cannot promise that I will be able to see it. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. If they want to force the issue, the prosecution would have to subpoena you. Then you would need a lawyer to fight the subpoena. Yeah, that's. But again, any of that, what that would mean, what that would look like, if you want to go through that, talk to a lawyer as soon as possible. Get some basic advice, and I'm just very sorry. But yeah, that's really rough. All right. What is it? Okay, I'm gonna work this out as I'm saying this. Evie, have you heard anything about how the Amish or Mennonites, I think that's the right spelling for Mennonites, view GDSM? Is it allowed, frowned upon, or banned? And I'm not sure if you meant BDSM or if there's some kind of like, I thought maybe there was something in there about like Christian domestic discipline, like godly discipline and sadomasochism or something. I don't know if is GDSM the godly version of kink. I have no idea. I think in order to learn about this, you should visit a great website that's called, I believe, Sex in Christ. Was it .org? There was like, you guys remember this website? Okay, I'm trying to find the right URL. Sex in Christ. It's www. Oh, you guys, if you haven't seen this website before, first of all, go watch my video about it. It's fucking hilarious. It's like the best thing ever, and I cannot believe that a bigger YouTube channel has like not found out what this website is, because it is so entertaining. It is unbelievably entertaining just to like browse what people are saying on there. But I'm putting a link to it in the chat. But it's sexandchrist.com. It is worth the read if you have not gone through it before. It is a delight. And yes, I forgot that the first page. Oh, I'm gonna cry and then get eyelash glue in my eyeball. The first page is like you go to sexandchrist.com. The first thing it says in bold letters is anal sex in accordance with God's will. Are you saving yourself for your wedding night? The devil wants you to fail. That's why he puts stumbling blocks in our way. But God wants you to succeed. And that's why he's given us an alternative to intercourse before marriage, anal sex. Through anal sex, you can satisfy your body's needs while you avoid the risk of unwanted pregnancy and still keep yourself pure for marriage. You may be shocked by this idea at first. Isn't anal sex, parentheses, sodomy, forbidden by the Bible? Isn't anal sex dirty? What is the difference between having anal sex before marriage and having regular intercourse? Let's address these issues by debunking some myths about anal sex and God's will. Yeah, it's amazing, and I still, after all these years, I'm not confident that this is I don't know if this is a shit post or not. This might be a very elaborate shit post, and I don't know. But just to answer the question, I thought the Bible said anal sex was a sin. This is a common misconception. Anal sex is confusing to many Christians because of the attention paid to the Bible's condemnation of homosexual acts. However, it's important to realize that these often quoted scriptures refer only to sexual acts between two men. Nowhere does the Bible forbid anal sex between a male and a female. I'll also have, the commonly quoted scriptures that people modernly interpret as being about condemning homosexual acts instead have to do with traditions around hospitality and not necessarily homosexual intercourse. In fact, many Bible passages allude to the fact of anal sex between men and women. Lamentations 2:10 describes how the virgins of Jerusalem... Wait, Lamentations 2:10. What is that from? Is it the... Oh... Okay. I don't know why I don't... Lamentations. Why did I recognize the word lamentations? Is that like not a part of like the yeah, when is it in? I don't know why I don't recognize the name Lamentations, and now it's freaking me out that there's like a part of the Bible I don't remember. Okay, anyways, I guess it must be in there somewhere. I definitely like read all of the Old Testament. So maybe I just don't recognize the name. Anyways, describes how the virgins of Jerusalem have bowed their heads to the ground. I think that definitely is about anal. Indicating how a virginal maiden should position themselves to receive anal sex. That's definitely what that's about. Oh my god. Another suggestive scripture tells of a woman's pride in her valley. Refers to her buttocks and the cleft between them, and entices her lover to ejaculate against her backside. How boastful you are about the valleys, oh backsliding daughter who trusts in her treasures, saying, who will come against me? Yeah, that's... Oh my god. And then of course in the Song of Songs, that's got all kinds of anal in it, the lover urges his mate to allow him to enter her from behind. Draw me after you, let us make haste. Oh, I guess the draw me after you, does that like does that mean like doggy style? Anyways, very funny. That's a little sampling of it. And let me tell you, it is about so much more than anal sex. There's bondage in Christ, BDSM in a Christian marriage, bear before God, shaving in the Bible. And there's a new article about a philosophical argument for masturbation. There's also my personal favorite, fisting and God's will. So if you've ever wondered, there's a website out there for you. Oh boy, there is. But as far as Mennonites and Amish go, I'm gonna say that they don't know what BDSM is mostly, and that even if they did know what it was, they probably would not be cool with it being a thing that you do in the marital bed, just in general, but I'm not totally sure. It depends, I think, on the arrangement, but I don't think that they're like, it's like, what is BDSM, right? Versus like just, like, would they be okay with you slapping your wife on the butt? I think as long as you come inside her pussy, I don't think they care too much about the other details around sex. I think it would be non-sexual BDSM, and anything that involves certain like satanistic type imagery or would be like defiling towards the will of God, I don't think that they would want or appreciate. But I think if it's like, do they care if you choke your girlfriend or your wife, I guess in this case, while you're having procreative intercourse, I don't think that they would really mind. I don't think that they would get to... Listen, they got too many other sexual abuse issues going on in their community that, like, involve actual rape. I don't know if they're looking too closely at, like, otherwise consensual activities. I feel like fisting is easier to is easier to justify biblically than masturbation. That's probably true. Yeah. I don't know if it's real. I don't know. Amish, no SM, biblical dominance and submission. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think it's like, the argument would probably be like, well, as long as you're submitting to your husband and you're, having sex the correct way for procreation, you're doing it in the right hole, I don't know if the rest of the details necessarily matter, There's a part where a guy named Onan is punished for spilling his seed in the ground when ordered to impregnate his dead brother's wife. Oh yeah, listen. You don't gotta tell me the basic Bible stories. Like, I know. I am aware. And the many various ways that they are interpreted and misinterpreted. Commanded by God is probably a better description. Yes, I agree with you on that. All right, anyways, go check out Sex and Christ. It's a fun little website. It's utterly ridiculous in every possible way you can imagine, and then some that are still going to surprise you. It's a delight. What can I say? All right, more questions. What is your hobbies? Or I guess, what are your hobbies? I like to read. This is like such a basic question. I sort of love it though. I like to read. I read a lot. I like to play video games. I bake. I do DIY stuff. I'm getting more into doing outdoorsy stuff. I didn't really grow up doing outdoorsy things. Actually, that's not true. I was outside all the time when I was a little kid, but then like my family didn't do like outdoorsy activities. We didn't like go skiing. We didn't go hiking. We didn't go boating. We didn't really even go to the beach. Like we didn't really do a lot of outdoorsy stuff other than like going to the park. So I'm getting back into that now, and I'm having fun with it, doing some outdoorsy things. Wouldn't necessarily call that fully a hobby, but it's like maybe it could get there. Maybe. And then let me see what else. For DIY stuff, I haven't actually like fully made like a candle before, because it turns out it's actually very hard to, like, especially if you're starting from scratch and not from like a kit, actually hard to make a really good candle, like completely from scratch. Like getting it to wick properly and like burn in a high quality way and like all these things you wouldn't have to think about if you didn't make a candle. But I make like bath bombs and like sugar scrubs and things like that. And then I'm currently getting more into like practicing doing my makeup, because I would like to have more options that are easier for me to do, that I can just know how to do real quick and just get them done and know what color combinations I want to use, and have something I can easily rely on for like day-to-day look stuff. I feel like I have like, I don't know, I feel like I have like boring hobbies. I don't really do like, I don't like sew. I don't knit. I don't do anything like that. I don't know. But no one in my family ever had hobbies growing up, so it's kind of a miracle that I have any hobbies, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's some of the stuff that I do. Oh, and I weightlift. I do a lot of weightlifting. I used to dance a lot more. I don't currently, because holy fuck, getting a membership at a dance studio is like expensive as fuck. So like I'm not currently doing that, but I used to do a lot of dance. I used to do and I still do a lot of like weightlifting and going to the gym. That's like probably my most consistent hobby is weightlifting. Is that a hobby? I don't know. I count it as a hobby. It's something I do constantly, so I guess it must be a hobby. What are your favorite fantasy, magic, D&D style books? I like fantasy. I like science fantasy. I really like the Black Company series. That's the most recent one that I've read that I really enjoyed, was the Black Company. I love The Lies of Locke Lamora. I'm like so ready for there to be more books in that series. That's one of my favorites. I don't even know if I would necessarily count that as a fantasy book, but if you haven't read The Lies of Locke Lamora and the other books in that series, which I think is called like the Gentleman Bastard series or something, those I love. And probably the weirdest book actually I like Kushiel's Dart. The Kushiel's Legacy series is also pretty good. I would not go back and physically reread copies of those books, but I did enjoy listening to the audiobook. So she like describes combat in very limited ways, which I found frustrating. Like there's one character that she always describes as falling like a star, like in every book. And I'm like, girlfriend, let's find a new phrase. These are 900 pages each. Let's find some new phrases. We can find some new words. But Kushiel's Legacy is pretty good. And the weirdest one that I probably like, I'll be shocked if anyone in this chat has ever read these books before, is I really like the Book of the New Sun. If you have read the Book of the New Sun, we can be friends. If you know what that series is, we can be friends. I actually got really out of reading fiction for a long time. I only read nonfiction, but it wasn't because I was like, I'm too good to read fiction and like I need to be efficient with my time and whatever. Like I wanted to read stuff that was good, but I had only been reading stuff that was marketed more towards women. Even outside of YA, I was reading stuff that was marketed towards women, and I just couldn't fucking stand it. By the time I got to be an adult, I was like, oh, let me guess, she has a special secret power that nobody else has. Oh, let me guess. The first guy that she meets that's hot in this book is going to be her husband by the end of the third book. Oh, let me guess. It's just like, it got too repetitive. I just didn't enjoy reading them anymore. Like, I am like the antithesis of a book talk girly. Like, I understand, but I still have trouble imagining myself being I don't even normally reread the same book series more than once. Because I don't I like experiencing new things. I like don't get comfort. I don't read for like the comfort coziness of like knowing where things are gonna end up. That's not my thing at all. I like things I can't predict where they're going, things that are interesting, things that have like weird philosophies in them and really built up worlds, and I like post-apocalyptic stuff and YA stuff that is like trope sewage. You know what you're getting from the cover, and then they advertise it like enemies to lovers. Like they got like the little curly Q like arrows being like enemies to lovers. Awkward girl. Bad boy with a soft side. Like all those. That drives me nuts. I can't believe it. I read enough of that by the time that I was like graduated from high school, and so I didn't read fantasy for a long time because everything I would try to read that was more marketed towards women, I just like couldn't stand. The last stuff that I probably read that I liked was probably Patricia Briggs, that was primarily marketed to women, and then I just didn't read like fantasy and stuff for like probably 10 years, and then I got back into it in the last like couple of years. I like it a lot more now. It's like, oh, I just had to read stuff that's like older and marketed to men, I guess, and like kind of look past the sexist parts, and then it's fine mostly. Yes, Wheel of Time has been recommended to me a lot. It's on my list to read eventually, but I'm actually taking a break because it took me, I was reading The Black Company for, almost a year. It took me a long time to get through that series because there's just so many books. So I'm taking a break from really long series at this point, and I'm reading, single books that I haven't gotten to yet that I've wanted to get to. Neuromancer and Snow Crash are the two that are the next fantasy books that I want to read. But currently, I'm reading some nonfiction that I've been wanting to get back to reread for a while and make notes on and stuff for videos and classes. So I'm not currently reading any fantasy novels, but I think once I actually have somebody, I have a friend who really wants me to read Malazan Book of the Fallen, and I don't know if I can commit to that. I don't know. I guess those would be, a lot of those are dark fantasy books, I suppose. I guess I don't really perceive them that way. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I could listen to it on audiobook, I would read. I don't know. It's hard. It's such a time investment. Maybe I'll read those eventually. But Wheel of Time would probably be if I was going to read another series. But honestly, what's probably most likely to have happen if we get a publishing date for the next novel in the Gentleman Bastard sequence, which I check randomly in the same way that I check to see if something's happened with Skyrim or not Skyrim but Elder Scrolls. Let's see. Gentleman Bastards sequence is apparently what it's called. I don't know if there's been any formal. There's whispers that it's supposed to come out in 2026, the most recent book. There's some novellas that are, I think, actually probably coming out now-ish. Let's see what's in news. What do you got for news about this series? No, there hasn't been anything in almost a year. So there's some novellas that are coming up. There's no updates about the next one coming out. So I just randomly check every once in a while because maybe I'll be surprised that it's actually has a publication date or something. Scholarge used to be on Twitter. I would post stuff on Twitter occasionally, but I don't really see him on there anymore. Also, hi Lexi, welcome. Glad you could stop by. Hope things are okay. I'm sure he'll be 50 before Elder Scrolls 6. I don't know. I'm definitely betting on being 40 by the time the next Elder Scrolls game. I think I'll probably be, this is my bet, I'm going to be 35 by the time the next Elder Scrolls game comes out. And I think how old was I when Skyrim came out? I think it was 15. Because it definitely came out when I was in high school. Was that 2010? 2011. Yeah, I would have been a junior in high school, so I Yeah, I would have been 16. Yeah, so I think that's, I have a 20th anniversary edition of Skyrim that's like also just like a totally separate game. I've not read The Song of Ice and Fire. So this is the thing. It's important to note. I do not read book series that are not finished if I can help it. When I started to read the Lies of Locke-Lamora, I did not know that it was a series. I thought it was a standalone book. And I would never intentionally subject myself to reading what tens of thousands of page long series that will probably never have an ending. That's like my one thing with anime, with TV shows, with book series. If there's not a completion, and there's likely to never be a completion, I'm not going to intentionally start reading it if I know that. Like, Wheel of Time, as far as I know, wrapped up. I read the first 3 Dune novels, or 4, or whatever it is, that makes kind of a complete sequence by itself. Read those ones, not reading the other ones, not doing it. Like, it has to have an ending. I don't like open-ended series that go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and never have a conclusion, or things that just like stop getting published, things that the author will probably never finish their book. I don't know what is going on with R.R. Martin, but I don't think that man's ever, not to jinx it, but I don't think that man is ever finishing his books, which sucks because he's like on the last one, right? Supposedly. But I think he just, like a lot of people, doesn't have the steam to finish, so I don't know. Oh, I guess there's the 2 books, Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring. Is that what it is? But yeah, those are my opinions about all that. My main kink is pretty niche. The only mentions of it online are just people saying it exists. Not anyone actually into it. I'm not cut out to moderate a group, but I wish I could find any advice. You're non-specific enough to where I don't even know, like, I'm like, it depends on the kink, but I feel like there is a Discord and or a subreddit for basically anyone with like any kind of kink you can imagine. Like, there's definitely subreddits you can go to where even if it's not like overtly a subreddit for that kink, you could say like, I have this kink and I'm interested in like starting a group around it. Does anyone else have this kink? There might be people that are at least interested in it. Or I mean, just like put out feelers in like related FetLife groups or on subreddits, or look for Discord chats. But if you don't want to start anything, if you don't want to be involved in moderating something, I mean, good to know that limit about yourself, but I don't think if you can't moderate it, it's not already there. Like, I can't help you magically find something that's not there, unfortunately. But that would be where I would look if I was trying to find something for a niche kink. Back in the day, I might have said Tumblr, but you would be real surprised what the furries get up to. So, like, depending on what it is, you might not be as far away from like-minded people as you expect. Yeah, I just imagine that with the Song of Ice and Fire, they're going to have a ghost author publish it posthumously for him based on his notes. For all we know, that man has an empty, I don't know if he writes longhand or not, I'm assuming he types. He might just have an empty Google Doc that says like, LOL, IDK, figure it out. And that's like the only thing that he's got cooked for a Song of Ice and Fire. For the ending is just like, but I know he has other notes beyond that, because I remember them talking about that a little bit with when they made the TV show, if they could predict certain things or where they thought the ending was going to end up. So they could like vaguely get to something that was an ending. Although obviously no one was really satisfied by the ending to Game of Thrones as a TV show. So as long as he doesn't do that, at least some people are going to be happier that it's not the ending that they got from the TV show. So, you know, maybe that's a silver lining. I don't know. Plus people maybe not have Plus people maybe might not have considered it and could be keen to experiment, or like me, always curious about new things. Definitely a possibility. Definitely a possibility there. George R.R. Martin has claimed he wants his notes burned after his death. Well, fuck him then. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I get why, because I imagine he doesn't want people to just, like, mine his ideas for forever and, like, make millions of dollars off of him after he's gone. I get that. But at the same time, it's like, my guy, I don't know if you get to be that picky at this point. Do you want people to just never have your story be finished? Like, it kind of just seems selfish, honestly, at some point. To not want to finish and then not give people tools to finish it based on your notes. But also it's really funny because so Gene Wolfe, who's the author of the Book of the New Sun, is a contemporary to George R. R. Martin, and they were in writers groups together. And let me tell you, fucking Gene Wolfe, efficient engineering machine. He gave himself a cool 250 pages for each book, and he did it. He made very, like, tight, very well composed novels that do not have a single wasted fucking word, a thing that is antithetical to the way that George R. R. Martin writes, seemingly. And he got his books finished, and I think they got finished. He'd been writing them for a long time, but by the time he got them started publishing, he was done inside of 10 years of at least getting the Book of the New Sun finished up. I don't know when Earth got published. Now I'm looking that up. Book of the New Sun. When was that published? When did it get finished? I know it started in, like, the 80s. Yeah. Oh, from 80 to 83 was the original quartet, and then the final add-on additional book, the fifth, Earth and the New Sun, was in 87. So he finished publishing the entire series in 7 years. Like, within a decade. George R. R. Martin literally could never, physically incapable of doing it, which, like, you know, I don't know what it's like to be an author at that scale. Like, maybe it'd be really hard. It seems really funny that I know that they were in writers groups together, and then he had to deal with this fucking guy, like, just finishing his books, and he can't. It's good. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he thought differently about his work in the 80s. Conciseness and high fantasy, you need to be lore maxing. To be fair, Book of the New Sun's not high fantasy. It's like science. It's science fantasy, so a little bit of a different thing there. But there's a lot of deep lore despite the sparse word count. They pulled the Full Metal Alchemist 2003, just made their own ending with Blackjack. I mean, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, some people like the 2003 ending better than the ending to actual, like, Brotherhood. Like, I find that to be interesting. But some people like that ending. Some people like where that went. I read that George R. R. Martin writes and then goes back and writes a lot. He likens it to tending a garden and replanting, etc. I mean, to be fair, like, Terry Pratchett also had a similar style of writing, and that man, like, actually finished books. So, don't know about that as an excuse there, boss. Every time the women in Wheel of Time cross their arms under their boobs is essential. I mean, I can't even. Can I cross? I guess I technically can. I feel like it doesn't have the same effect that the author of the Wheel of Time is trying to get to. I just got recommended Evie's kinky breakup video. Yeah. Well, if you talk this much about fantasy books, you're probably getting broken up with, so. But yeah, that was, I don't know if Twixie's here, but Twixie's been asking me to make that for like a hot minute, so I finally did. All right, more questions. I want to go to my first munches from Age of Aquarius, but my anxiety takes over whenever I plan to attend. I get super excited, but day of I get so anxious and nervous I end up backing out and staying home. Thanks. Oh, okay. Totally get you, Age of Aquarius. Okay. Disclaimer that I'm not your therapist. I'm not a therapist in general. However, I am somebody that has lived with a lot of anxiety during my life, and I totally get where you're coming from. So this is what, like, I do that, like, helps me get through my anxiety. It's different. I'm going to assume that you're not dealing with, like, an OCD type thing, because you would address that differently than, like, more general anxiety. But if you are dealing with more garden variety anxiety, like I deal with from time to time, and by that I just mean that it's not specifically like OCD or health anxiety or something. because the treatment protocol for that is different, and a lot of advice that is good for like social anxiety or generalized anxiety disorder is the opposite of what you want to do for other things. So I'm being very cautious about that. But what I find helps me, so I didn't have that anxiety around specifically going to events, but some of the worst anxiety I've ever had in my life is around flying. I used to be super, super anxious to fly. And number one thing that helped me was having a trusted person to go with. If I had to start solo flying by myself, I would never have started to go on planes. I could not have done it. I needed to have a trusted person with me. So if you can find a trusted person who can be your wingman or your wingwoman, that would be fantastic. I understand you might not know anybody, but that could even just be somebody maybe who doesn't go into the munch with you, maybe like drives you there or like comes to pick you up when you're ready to leave. Like somebody who can at least be like an emotional buffer that like you feel a strong sense of security with can be helpful. And then I also like worked my way up to like actually flying on a plane, and I didn't like do full on like exposure protocol therapy, but it was kind of a similar idea of like I am like walking through and like practicing the experience of like going to the airport and getting on the plane and, you know, sitting down and having the seatbelt go on and then like take off and then being on the flight and doing all of those things and like just mentally practicing going through it. So that way, the first time that I actually went on a plane, it wasn't like the first time my brain had ever like really contended with the idea of being on a plane before. And then like watching videos of people flying and just like overall just like getting my brain used to the idea of being on a flight. Say as well, there's no shame in using properly prescribed medication for anxiety. A big part of me getting over my anxiety for flying actually was like taking a prescription anxiety medication. I took a very, very small dose, and I would take it specifically for being on the plane itself. And I eventually went from doing it like when I was on the plane both ways to like only like for the first flight and then not for the second flight on the way home. And then I was able to eventually just like stop taking it altogether. I didn't need it because at least for me, my anxiety was rooted in like the fear of the unknown and the fear of what could happen. And by having multiple experiences where afterwards I was safe and nothing bad happened, I had enough evidence to prove to my brain, I don't really need to be that scared of that thing. I don't have to be super anxious about it. So we can kind of like calm down a little bit. And so with munches, that might mean like, again, having kind of like a friend or somebody that you feel really secure with go with you. And then eventually like being able to go on your own, or even just like not necessarily like going into the munch. I would even maybe especially if it's at like a public venue, like if it's at a pizza place or a bar or something, maybe the day before the munch, you like go to the bar, you go to the pizza place, get familiar with the environment, order there, see what people are there, learn what the route is like on the way to drive there, like get familiar with the environment you're going to be on. So then you have like less unknown factors going into the munch experience itself. That can also make things a lot easier. And then maybe come up with a plan to make things less overwhelming. Because I think if you imagine in your head that like, I have to go to this munch and I have to socialize and I have to talk to people, I'm going to be there for hours, and what if everyone ignores me, la, 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 and you spin out thinking of all the things that can go wrong and all the things that you have to do, make it smaller. Like make the thing that you're committing to with your brain smaller. Like, you know, if I was afraid of flying, I would not commit to doing was that the first time I flew was going to London? I know I did smaller stuff before that. Maybe it was flying to like California. I know I did like a small flight that was like an hour and like an hour and a half, I think, before I did anything else that was longer. And so maybe that can mean like you're not promising to go to the munch itself. Maybe you show up like half an hour before the munch starts, and then maybe you tell yourself, I'll be there for like the first 5 minutes of the munch if I feel okay being there. And maybe that feels a little bit easier than just having to be there for the whole time. I actually think showing up really early as well is best. Like the harder, the farther into the munch it is, the harder it's going to be to break into the conversation. So if you show up an hour in, things are always going to be like, most of the time anyways, they're going to be like popping off already. People are going to be chatting. They're going to be in their groups already. It's going to be a lot more like especially if it's social anxiety you're dealing with, it's going to be a lot harder to deal with that. But if you show up before the event even starts, then you're just like there when the munch begins, or as soon as the organizers show up, like then you're dealing with like 2 people and not like 50. So that's probably a lot easier. And then I would also say too, just like, again, on top of making really small commitments of like, I'm not going to be there for the whole munch, so you're going to go for like 5 minutes. Like finding a munch that feels like safe for you to go to, I think is also important as well. Like you can go to munches at a restaurant or at a bar, but you might actually do a lot better with like an activity munch. Like something where you have something to do with your hands and with your brain, like a hiking munch or a roller skating munch or like an arcade munch or a pinball munch, or there's all different sorts of munches out there. Find one that's like lower key, smaller group of people, good environment for you that you generally feel more relaxed in. But I think at the end of the day, what's probably most important is like accepting the fact that the anxiety is there, and like if you try to fight the anxiety too hard, it becomes like a finger trap, you know, where you're trying so hard to fight it that it gets even tighter because your anxiety is trying to tell you something that it thinks is important, which is like danger zone, things could happen, we don't know what's going to go on, we need to protect ourselves, so we're going to like clench on as hard as we can and like make this anxiety even worse because you're clearly not fucking listening to what we're trying to tell you. So rather than trying to fight the anxiety and be like, this anxiety is stupid, I shouldn't be thinking this is going to be easy, blah, blah, blah. Like, ask your anxiety what it's anxious about, what it's worried about. See if you can get it to kind of like trust you to be able to cope with that at all. Like if you're afraid of being rejected, if you're afraid of not making any friends, if you're afraid of being ignored, if you're afraid of looking silly in front of people, whatever it is, try to like calmly be like, thank you so much. Like almost like when you have a dog bark, like alarm barking, sometimes just a very short like thank you, like just recognizing, yes, thank you for letting me know, and then that can kind of help the anxiety relax a little bit of like, okay, you get what we're worried about here, we're on the same page, okay, we can relax a little bit after that point. But not trying to like actively fight the anxiety, I think, is a good thing. And then like optimize. This is like the most alpha male thing I've ever like intentionally said. You want to optimize your nervous system for the experience. So like do it on a day when you don't have anything else planned. Do it in a relaxed state. Do things beforehand that are going to be relaxing for you. Like, you know, taking a hot bath. Have a plan for yourself for afterwards as like a success thing, like kind of a like, hey, we did it, champ, we're gonna go get ice cream kind of moment. Like, if you go for 5 minutes, when you get home, we're gonna, like, watch a Studio Ghibli movie, we're gonna, like, order Taco Bell, we're gonna, whatever thing makes you feel happy and relaxed afterwards is, like, a special little treat for yourself that's not super expensive. That can also help, too, of, like, oh, well, if I do this thing, like, it's almost like you're, this is not good parenting, but, like, you are kind of, like, parenting your inner child around your anxiety a little bit. That's how I think about it, of like, I don't care, this makes me seem childish, this is a big thing for me, and because I did something that was really hard, I'm gonna reward myself, and that makes doing the hard thing a little bit easier. But yeah, those are all some ideas that I have around navigating anxiety. Anxiety is such a big thing, and it can come out in so many different ways. It can be there for so many different reasons that it's hard to give really precise advice for what might help you. But those are the kinds of things that I do that help me when I'm feeling like overwhelmed by something, is I like make it smaller, make it more digestible, make it a more pleasant experience, and try to make sure that you're going into it as like prepared as possible. Something I like to recommend too for anxiety is there's a specific music, I swear to God this works, from Macaroni Union, not macaroni, Macaroni Union. It's on YouTube, it's on YouTube Music, I'm sure it's on Spotify as well, and it's music that was designed in partnership between, I think, an orchestra and neuroscientists and neurobiologists to promote relaxation in your body. And I would like pop that on, I would listen to that and see if it helps you at all. They have a couple different versions of the same effect, essentially, that's in the music. And I genuinely find it to be very helpful if I'm feeling really anxious. So yeah, those are some things that I would personally do if I were you, and that have helped me in the past. And good luck. You're being super brave. I believe in you. I know it's really hard, but you know, keep in mind that so many kinksters are anxious or neurodivergent or all of the above, or they're just shy. There's going to be so many people this month that are like you. Remember, also being nervous too. I think I haven't said this as well, so I'll just mention this really quickly, is talking to the event organizers ahead of time and like letting them know, like if you can message them on FetLife or Plura or Bloom or whatever it is that you found them, be like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm new to this munch. Now I'm thinking of the hash slinging slasher in SpongeBob. You guys know about the hash slinging slasher in SpongeBob, where they get really nervous because they think it's a big monster outside, but really it's a guy that's like too nervous to turn in his resume, so like he keeps like coming back and forth, and it's like stormy outside that they can't really see him. He like brings his own spatula and stuff. Anyways, I don't know why they reminded me of that, but the point I wanted to make is like message the event organizers, talk to them about the fact that you're new, let them know like, hey, I'm interested in going. I don't really know what this is going to be like. I'm going to be by myself. I'm nervous. What would your advice for me be? And like, if it's a good munch, they probably have at least one person who can be your like designated golden retriever for the evening to like give you a buddy to like latch onto at the event if it gets too overwhelming for you. YouTube returns Macaroni Union at the top of the search. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. I am literally anxious almost every day and have an iPod, so can I listen to it to help? I think potentially. I can't tell you whether that's going to help you. I can say it's helped me with my anxiety, but give it a whirl. See if it helps. It might. It might not. I don't know. The slash bringing the cash. The cash flinging, the hash slinging slasher. I need somebody to do a hash slinging slasher Halloween costume, honestly. Oh my god, where's Egg? There's no Egg today. I hope Egg's okay. I hope Egg isn't rotten. I'm so glad everyone else remembers the hash slinging slasher. That's how I know that we're of the same generation, is if you know who the hash slinging slasher is. Yeah, headphones also helps. Oh, yeah. Just not even to listen to the music, but you can also use it as a way to, like, depending on what makes your anxiety worse. If it's like the environment, that definitely is an option too. And I would even look for, I don't know if you're in a big city or not, there's a lot of munches that are specifically for like nerdy or neurodivergent people, and I would maybe try one of those, because if you're anxious about people judging you, if you know that people are on your same wavelength because they're also, you know, got things going on in their brain, I think it makes it a little bit easier because you know that you're going to be among like-minded people. Yeah, I learned about Nosferatu because of SpongeBob, which is really funny. And also David Hasselhoff I also learned about through SpongeBob. Okay, all right. Good question. Thank you, Evie, for answering my question. So helpful. You're very welcome. Good luck. Definitely check in and let me know how it went if you end up going. No pressure to go if you don't want to, obviously. But I believe in you. I think that you can do it. What movie do you never want to see again? What movie do I never want to see again? There's like one really freaky, like French, I don't know how to describe it. I watched it with like, it was on a BDSM movie list, and so my partner at the time like downloaded it for us to watch, maybe even bought like a physical DVD copy of it. But it was a really weird French movie that was like kind of surreal, and then it also involved like weird like torture I'm going to say this wrong. Incest stuff. I always want to say incense, and that's not what it is. It was very bizarre. I would never want to watch that again. I don't know any other movies I've watched that I'm like, this was awful. The Abyss, probably I would never watch again. Didn't enjoy that viewing experience. Those are probably the two that I would never want to watch again. But I don't watch very many movies to begin with, and I will just stop watching a movie if it's not my thing. So I don't tend to, unless it's somebody's like, oh, we really need to watch this. It's like my favorite movie. It's just so great. You're going to love it. Then sometimes I'll stick it out. That's not always the best thing for me. Oh, Vlad was here briefly. Oh, good to know that Vlad's still around. Hopefully impaling fewer people. And the lights will flicker on and off. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and the walls will ooze green slime. Wait, they always do that? Yeah. Good stuff, good stuff. If someone is upset for it before they know you, that they're not your people anyway. That's a good point. That's a good point. All right. See you, Lexi. Yeah, definitely rest up. Have a good weekend. See you later. What was your first kink relationship like? Okay. So are we talking intentional kink relationship, or are we talking like things I accidentally did when I was in high school? Because I've talked a little bit about both. The first accidental thing I did that I've talked about before on various videos is when I was in high school, I had a boyfriend that I had exchanged dog collars with. And we would wear dog collars for each other. We were at school and like take them off before we went home. I don't know what to tell you all. This is a nail file, by the way. That's basically it. We didn't really do anything else. We just wear the dog collars mostly. What else? And then probably what was my first like official kink relationship? I think my first official kink relationship was actually I had been in a vanilla relationship. We broke up. Around right before we broke up, I discovered that BDSM was a thing that you could actually do with real other human beings. I had expressed, I think, to them some level of interest in doing it, but then we broke up, so it never went anywhere. And then I realized that, like, the world is my oyster. I can do whatever I want. I'm single, baby. I can go to dungeons now. And I found out about FetLife, and I realized that you could find events on there. I actually think I found out about FetLife from the event website for a dungeon that I had found, because they linked, I think, to their FetLife page. And then I discovered FetLife. I made an account. And then should have been a red flag, but it wasn't to me at the time because I didn't know any better. I didn't have any friends. I set up an account, and then I think they maybe liked my photo. I had an account for maybe like a day, maybe not even a day. And I got a message from somebody who was around my age. They went to my same school seemingly. And because at the time I was still in college. And they like offered to like help me navigate the website, and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I'm brand new here. All this should have been a red flag. Brand new, very young person. Somebody randomly reaches out to try and help me. I was naive. I didn't know better. And so they helped me set things up and like set privacy settings, all this stuff. It was actually kind of nice, but again, it was still a red flag. And then I found out that, you know, they went to the same school as me, and like we were kind of close by each other. And then we started to like hang out, and they offered to be my trainer. And we were in a non-sexual, non-romantic, like training relationship where they would show me like basic kinky things like, you know, like bondage. I remember us doing like wrestling and stuff before. I don't remember if we ever went to any dungeon parties together. I did go to a dungeon by myself like pretty shortly after that, but that wasn't a relationship. And then I met another person who was going to the same rope bondage event that I was, and they were like, hey, I'm also going by myself. Are you going by yourself? Do you want to like, you know, be tying partners? And then we went, and we actually met up for I think for like coffee or something to meet beforehand. And then we just hung out for a really long time. We got along really well. We ended up dating eventually later, but at some point in time I had a like sort of two presumably non-intimate relationships with people that both people were like, I want you to be exclusive with me. And that didn't work out, obviously. And anyways, what I learned from that is I got relatively lucky, even with all the red flags with the training relationship. Nothing like bad happens. Like, I think, you know, it wasn't like they were like 20 years older than me and, you know, were like, you know, a big figure in the community who like promised to like bring me in or anything. Like we had a very like low key, you know, once a week, once every other week, like let's hang out, you know, we go dancing, and then we'd like do a little short trial of some kind of kinky thing or whatever. And that was basically it. And then when both of these people came to me independently and were like, you know, I want to actually like date you. I want to be like exclusive with you, because I didn't know that polyamory existed. I don't think either one of them did. Then I had to choose one of them, and then I chose the other person that I'd met at the rope bondage class. So that's basically that on that. It wasn't, we worked together for super long. It was maybe a couple months, maybe like 3 or 4 months, I think. But yeah, I got really lucky. I do not get into relationships with people, even a training relationship or a mentorship with somebody who you meet via FetLife DM. And I especially would not do that now. I think I had a relative level of safety with that because it was somebody that they weren't like a total stranger. I wasn't in like a big city in the sense that like we were on the same campus. We went to the same school. Like, you know, there were factors there that were like, oh, you're like a real person. But yeah, I would not recommend that as a way to get into doing kink. All right, 1 second. If the mods haven't gotten to that yet. Oh, yep. Great. All right. Perfect. Love that. That hasn't happened for a while. I guess somebody got bored and decided to be annoying again. That's good for them. Da-dum. Oh, now I'm just in like the regular chat. All right, there you go. It's just a bizarre situation in general. Oh, I get it. The implication because I'm not wearing a collar is that I'm a fake sub. Cool. None of your business. Also very funny. I love when people guess what's going on in my relationships because they're always like super wrong. Like I don't talk about current relationships that are happening for a particular very good reason, which it's none of y'all's fucking beeswax. Yeah, don't be weird. Anyways, let's get to a couple more questions here. Feel free to ask me general questions about collars, but don't be weird about me specifically. I mean, I could be wearing a collar right now and you guys might not even know it. Think about that. It's not like you guys see my whole body. Don't be weird. It's not that difficult. Since you mentioned liking video games, what's your favorite Pokemon? Oh, like my favorite Pokemon game or my favorite Pokemon creature? I think I really like playing Sword and Shield. I think was fun. I think that one, for gameplay purposes, I enjoyed maybe the most. I found it very relaxing to play. My favorite Pokemon are, it's so hard for me to pick like a number one because there's so many Pokemon, but my favorite are, in no particular order, Wooloo, Lapras, and Rockruff. And when I was a kid, I loved Spoink. I thought Spoink was super cute. I love Spoink. Spoink is never going to appear in any other games ever. But I played Emerald first, so Spoink was in that game. I don't know if there's any other ones that are like favorites. I think those ones are like probably the nearest and dearest to my heart. Definitely like Wooloo is probably number one. I'm a big Wooloo stan. I'm a big Wooloo stan. Nobody's a bigger Wooloo stan than me. I wish that the Wooloo evolution had just been a bigger and fluffier sheep. I wish that they had 3 evolutions, and each evolution of Wooloo was to be like Wooloo, and then Wooloo was like the final evolution, and it just was like just very giant and round. I think would be the best Pokemon. Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah. The collar that really matters is the collar you wear in your mind. Chew on that, people. Hell yeah, that's good. I like that. But yeah, those are my favorite ones. I don't know why I love Wooloo so much. He's just so perfect. He's so good. I think I was sold on Wooloo because like the first time you get introduced to Wooloo in the games, he's rolling around, and that is dope. I love it when Pokemon roll around. It's just so adorable. Spoink is adorable. Yeah, Spoink is great. Again, it's like there's so many Pokemon that like when they evolve, it just like ruins it. Like I don't need like a. I also really like Phanpy, but I don't like what Phanpy evolves into. I don't like Donphan. So if I could just have we just have Phanpy, but have Phanpy get really big, get like to be a really big blue boy. I would love that. That's ideal character design in my brain. Just make every evolution just a bigger version of the last one. I also like Frou-Frou, I guess. That's like one of the better dog designs, I think, for Pokemon. Oh, not sure if any of those are in Legend Z to A, but if they are, I'll name one after you. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Actually, I wonder what Pokemon are in Legend Z through. Is it Z through A? I don't even know how that's like pronounced. I don't even know how you like say that. ZA. Legends ZA. Za. Like pizza. That's definitely how you're supposed to say it. Oh, isn't that the one? It's set in like the French place. So I think Frou-Frou is probably in there. I don't know if they have a list of like the Pokemon that are in those games. Oh, is that on the Switch 2 as well? I'm probably never gonna get a Switch 2, honestly. I'm sure Bulbapedia. Oh yeah, Bulbapedia has I don't think Bulbapedia even has one. Doesn't look like they have a list of all the potential Pokemon that you can get. Chandelure I also like. Chandelure would be acceptable if you can't find any of the other ones. I do like Chandelure. I mean, obviously, come on, obviously. Eevee, are you sure that Eevee isn't one of your favorites? You know, that's a great question. Actually, the animated stuff I've seen of Eevee on like the Pokemon, like the Instagram page for the Pokemon Company is aggressively cute, and I do like that. But I feel like I can't pick Eevee because we're too similar, you know? Oh, they do have a Switch 1 version, okay. I don't know nothing about Pokemon. I'm Gen X old people just hanging out for the laughs and amazing submissives. You know who you are, thank you. Yeah. Eevee can be up there too. It's just not one that I like. I don't know. It's not one that like it's weird. You think I would identify with it more, but I don't know. Woo is just so good. This is so ridiculous. How come young women go feral? It doesn't even say, it just says go feral older men. I think you're missing a preposition there, buddy. How come young women go feral for older men? I love that you think I'm an alpha male podcast and this is something that I would know about or have strong opinions about. Zapdos is interesting. 15-minute warning and extreme gifts. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, we have 15 minutes left, so if you have not asked a question, now's a good time. But why do young women go feral for older men? Why does that happen? Taking this question completely seriously and not as a shitpost, I would say that the reason why some people are attracted to age gap relationships, I mean, people say that, you know, men my age are mature, they don't know how to handle me, they don't have a good job, whatever. I can say that for, you know, I've been in a lot of age gap relationships. That has not changed as I've gotten older. It's like the opposite of being Leonardo DiCaprio. As I get older, so do my boyfriends. It's weird. But I've been in lots of age gap relationships, and I can say what attracted me to people in those circumstances, not going feral, but just like made me attracted to older people, was just like the fact that we could hold a long conversation about interesting topics. That was basically it. I typically wouldn't know how old somebody was until later if we met in person, and then it wouldn't really like matter to me. There's something I think to be said for experience and confidence, and you know, not like playing games and wasting time. Though not all older men are that way. I think it's like more common amongst older men than men who are like 20. Like when I go on dating apps, it's like, oh well, why do people prefer older men? Well, it's like the men that are closer to me in age. Like, the closer you are in age to, like, the mid-20s, the more likely what you have on your dating app profile is, like, figuring out my relationship type, open to anything, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're trying to cast such a wide net, and you have no idea what you want in life, that it's hard for somebody to, like, picture dating you because you don't have any clear sense of self to bounce off of. Like, okay, I know this guy likes his motorcycle, doesn't know if he wants to be polyamorous or monogamous, doesn't know if he wants to be kinky or vanilla, doesn't know if he wants kids or not, doesn't know if he wants marriage or not. Like, there's nothing there. What am I supposed to build off of with that? Whereas, at least in my experience, not all the time, but it's more likely that older people are going to be more clear in their profiles about what they actually want or not, versus somebody who's like 25 and is oftentimes like still figuring things out. But yeah, just like being able to hold a mature conversation, I think, is a big part of it. That's what I most commonly hear from other women for, like, you know, why are you with your older partner? What do you find attractive about them? Is like, I can actually talk to them about like life and life goals, and they're honest about their feelings, and they've had time to go to therapy, and they've done the work, and they've done this. Like, I know that this stereotype is that, well, women like older men because they have money and they have cars and whatever. And that's, for some people, that can definitely be part of it. But I think it's less so those things directly, and more so, like, you want to be with a guy, if you're like a serious dating person who wants to like build a long-term relationship, you want to generally be with somebody that has like a vision for their future, you know, has some kind of life goals, has an idea of what they want, and is like on the way to getting at least some of that, versus a guy who like floats between a couple of different jobs, doesn't really commit to anything, doesn't have a degree, doesn't like have any idea where their life is going to go, and they're just like floating in the breeze, you know, couch surfing, doing whatever. Like, that lifestyle is, I think, unappealing for a lot of people. But yeah, I don't think it's the case that like young women necessarily go feral for older men so much as it is a preference. But I'm curious from like the opposite side, if you're like an older man who dates younger women, like when they tell you why they're attracted to you, like what comes up. Because at least with my partners, it usually goes back to like, well, we can have really nice conversations, and like you understand your feelings and you're not afraid to talk about your feelings. And there's a lot of talking, honestly. There's a lot of talking involved. Oh, hey, you okay back there? Got some hunkies. Sometimes it's genuinely a daddy complex. Oh yeah, I could never underestimate the daddy complex, for sure. My ex-boyfriend, who was well over a decade younger than me, had a daddy complex. That was my biggest age difference, and after that, I'm over younger partners, to be honest. Or right now. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I date anyone that's older because I have a daddy complex. Because usually it doesn't really enter my mind how old they are, like, unless they're noticeably a lot older, and then I go, like, if I see somebody on a dating app who looks 50, but they're saying they're 30, I'm gonna be like, no. But most of the time, I don't even really notice what people's ages are when I'm like matching with them on dating apps or when I meet them in person. It only comes up later. So it's not like I'm intentionally looking for people that like, are following a model I'm looking for, or like have things that like remind me of a father figure. Certainly I've dated older people that tend more towards a caretaking thing, but honestly, that can be kind of like a bummer. Like when you're younger and you're with an older partner, there's definitely people that will like make you being younger a big deal. Like either in kind of a sexual way, like, oh my God, I've literally had people tell me this. I have literally had people be like, I can't believe this like 22-year-old is like dating me. And it's like, don't make it weird. What? No. That doesn't really happen anymore. But like, it still kind of does, honestly. Even when I was in my late 20s, be like, I can't believe this 28-year-old is like dating me. And it's like, we don't have that big of an age gap. What's going on? But having people that have like a caretaker kind of thing when you're younger can be an issue, because it can be infantilizing. Like it's like I'm an adult. I have my own job. Like I have my own apartment. I have my own books. I have dishes. Like I know how to keep a house. I know how to do life things. I've been an adult for a while, and like, if they don't like trust you with your emotions or with life stuff, and they impose like helping you because they want to be your caretaker, even if you don't want that from them, like that's also a big problem too. Like, I'm not a project to be fixed. I am not a DIY thing for you to work on. That's not what this relationship is about. That's what you want. We're not really that compatible, and see you later. Being the older person, dating younger, it is being able to have good conversations and enjoy the energy. Also, I'm E&M, so I encourage them to date people closer to their age. I think that's a big thing too. Like if I had only ever been monogamous, I don't think that I would be in age gap relationships, at least not as much. Because at least the types of people that I've dated that I have age gap relationships with, they almost always have like other partners besides me, or like even if we maybe don't mesh like life goal wise, it doesn't matter because we don't want that kind of relationship from each other. Like, okay, you already have a nesting partner, you have kids, you have this, you have that. Like, okay, I'm not going because I might want some of those things with somebody in the future, but you don't have to be that person. So therefore the age isn't getting in the way. But yeah, it definitely depends. Yeah. I used to always date younger, but it was probably because that was who was around me and who took the chance to show me they were interested. I do look after them, but I also don't treat them like that. Yeah, I think that's a balancing act. I think it's, if you have caregivery tendencies, like you have to be able to like listen to and know. And I think some people struggle with that. They're trying to do something nice for somebody. They're like, well, I'm just trying. How many times I've heard, I'm just trying to help. I just want to like, like be useful. And it's like, you tried to help me by doing something I don't want you to do, and that therefore is not actually helpful to me. What? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, you gotta be aware of your deal when you're dating in age gap relationships. Honestly, you nailed it. As an older man, for me, it's I can hold a conversation. I've been told I don't give off all I want to do is bang you vibes, and I've been told experience was a turn on and emotionally safe. Yes, that's a big one too. I haven't mentioned that, but honestly, it's because I don't even like match with people on dating apps who have like I want to fuck energy, so I don't have those conversations. But the few times it has come up, a big part of the reason why at least I don't tend to date people that are close to my age is because, especially if they're also E&M, all of them are like, there's like two categories. There's like near 30, 100% impending divorce with the first wife, where it's like they got married at 18, they're like ex-Mormons, they grew apart, they're still friends, but they haven't actually divorced yet. And like, even just reading between the lines in the dating app profile, I don't expect that you're going to be with this partner long term. Or even just in the first couple conversations, I don't expect that like, you two are going to be together long term, or you're only going to be together because of the kids, and that's going to be fucking miserable to be around. So I don't want to date that. Like, I'd rather date people who are 5 years post-divorce from the first wife than people who are in impending divorce territory. Personally, thank you very much. But with younger people, the second category beyond just like, I see a divorce in your future is people that are just super thirsty. They just want to fuck. Even if they say they want a relationship, just the way that they talk about having a relationship is so forwardly and directly sexual that it's like, well, we're never going to get there now, buddy. Like, what? Like, and I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and it was like some poor woman who was talking about like going on dating apps, and then within like 5 messages, men bringing up porn. And I'm like, how are you, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I wish I could like copy and paste whatever it is that I do on dating apps, because I have never had a dating app conversation turn to a porn conversation. And the most sexual it's gotten is somebody like, after a couple of days of messaging, like sending me something about like wanting a picture of me with like a winky emoji. And then that just me just like noping out after that and be like, nope, sorry, I can't do it. Which is maybe unfair, but I think there's subtext to the winky emoji that makes me nervous, so I don't want to talk about it. In a few cases, they really don't like men their age in terms of being entitled or being brain rotted. Also, for some of them, they enjoy the physical stuff more because I talk about it. Oh, that's also true. Like, I think another part of it is, like, when you're with an older person and they have more experience, they also, like, not always, but tend to be like more secure in their sexuality than people who are younger. Like they've just, can have more time to try things and unlearn, Christian values around sex. But yeah. Shocked people in their 30s still have that much sexual energy. I say this as somebody in their 30s. I mean, it really depends on the person. Like, I mean, I'm now in my 30s. Most people I've dated have been in their 30s. And some of them have been very non-sexual, and some of them have been very sexual. So it just depends on the person, honestly. It exists all across the spectrum. I don't know if I brought up porn by the 5th date, let alone a 5th message. Yeah, it's like, that's what's nuts to me. I'm like, I don't even know, like, there are partners that I've just never talked about porn with ever, that I've dated for years. Like, they just doesn't come up. So to have it come up by like a couple messages is just astronomically unbelievable to me. I imagine having asexual aspec on a profile might keep away I just want to fuck types. But that's the thing. I don't say that I'm asexual in my dating profiles because sometimes it's not an option. And I imagine the people don't know what it is and they make assumptions. So I just talk about it and I'm like, hey, here's my sexuality situation. But also, I don't tend to date a lot of cis-het people. And I think that probably also helps. Like the last person I started dating who is cis-het, I started dating like 4 years ago. So I maybe just don't tend to attract that crowd very much anyways. And that also might, I don't know, sometimes queer people can be like really sex forward too. So it's not like that's like a whole thing. But the point is like, I definitely talk about being ace, but it's like a conversation as we're getting to know each other, as we think this might actually turn into something beyond a first date territory. Because I'd rather explain like, what does it mean that I'm on the ace spectrum, as opposed to you seeing that and assuming that like, I don't even want to like hold hands, like I'd rather have a conversation about this is what this means to me. This is how I am. This is how it's evolved over time, blah, blah, blah. So yeah. I also tended to very much not take over their lives. I encourage them to live their experience type things, to have other interests and friends, to very much give them freedom and not be controlling. Yes, I think it's very important. Okay, I'm going to do one more question here, and then we're going to wrap up for tonight. So let's see, who is going to be the last question? It's from Thanos. Do you have any good resources for predicament bondage that involves pulley systems? The little one is interested in it. I don't have any good. There is a little bit on I think the crash restraint page has a little bit about using a pulley or a winch system for that purpose. I would possibly look into stuff about aerial rigging. I don't know, but it's a good question. Because, yeah, people don't really use pulley systems for predicament bondage, do they? But if you're interested in using something like that or having one installed in your house, I would look at the crash restraint page. If you want to, learn about like what, how to set up a pulley system and that side of things. As far as like how to use predicament bondage using pulley systems, I unfortunately cannot think of any online resources, but if I come across any, I will definitely let you know. Climbing pulleys. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. But yeah, it depends on like when you say you want resources, does that mean how do I make it happen? Ideas, concepts? Because I have been to dungeons before where they have a pulley system that you can rig off of. In which case, ask the venue owner how it works. Those are, I think, harder to evaluate for a lot of people, but they are a thing that exists. So, look at that. All right, it is 8:01. I am hungry. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this conversation, y'all. Thank you so much for being here, entertaining our interesting conversations today. I really appreciate it. We stream every Friday here at 6 p.m. If you're not already, please do check out our video from earlier today that is all about surviving heartbreak and breakups in BDSM relationships. I know that was a requested topic for a while, and I finally got around to it. Hopefully it was helpful. And just watch it and keep it in mind for if it happens in the future. Stay safe, y'all. Have fun. Have a good weekend. Drink your water. Wear your sunscreen. And I'll talk to you all again very soon. Bye! Yeah, are we going to say goodbye? Yeah. Hi, sweetheart. How are you, honey? Come here. Hi. Come here. Come here. Oh my goodness, he ran away. Oh my, hi. Come here. What are you doing, little dog? What are you doing? Oh my goodness, is it 8 p.m. and is it time for dinner? It could be. It could be time for dinner. What do we think, honey? Da-da-da! Yay! You're so good. You're such a good, you're such a good baby, yeah. Look at this creature. Gaze upon her. Hi, honey. You're smelling me. What's that for? All right. I'll see you all later. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you soon.